Hi, everybody. Um, it's been a while. It's been a long time actually since I've uploaded a new video on this YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm really sorry about that. Um, I'm things happen, life happen, although not really that much actually. But now here I am. I wanna talk again about the the truth that people don't want to hear, or maybe should I say, quote unquote, unpopular opinion. So, but this is what the YouTube channel is actually about. It's not about the mainstream idea of the popular, what's the hype, the trending, the mainstream norm things that people usually think about. But it's actually more of the um, what should I say, the uncomfortable truth, the harsh reality that people don't want to hear, don't even want to think about, don't even want to feel about. Um, so, but the truth is the truth, right? Yeah. So today in this video, I want to talk about this one actually important topic. I haven't, to be honest, I create this video spontaneously, so I'm sorry again. I'm sorry if I just talk spontaneously, like what's really on my mind. Maybe it's kind of, but I've already prepared the structure, so to speak, somewhat. And again, like I said in my previous videos, my previous two videos, English is not my first language. So without actually revealing my true identity, I decided to keep it remain secret. The video and all this, even this YouTube channel. You know, um, but yeah, hope you can understand like where I'm coming from about this video. Okay, so here we go. I want to talk about it's a very very big topic, actually another big topic actually. This YouTube channel is actually talking about quote unquote the big question, the biggest question, in fact, life biggest questions, right? That's including meaning of life, meaninglessness, and then in the previous video I've talked about nihilism, and then yeah. But in today's video, I want to share about something that is also very, very well. Maybe not many people talk about it, but I feel like there is a absurd something like, is it? Am I saying it right? There is like a rise, maybe some a rise in people talk more about this actually. I feel, especially on online, on the internet. you know so what I want to talk is about, can you guess? It's absurdism. 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 Am I spelling it right? Yeah, absurdism is, sorry, about my, I'm not really that good at communicating, at talking. So, but I hopefully my point will get across. Uh, Absurdism is actually a philosophy, a popular philosophy, actually, a very popular philosophy actually. Well, maybe nihilism is more popular, especially nowadays. Today I see like there is also a rise in nihilism, but absurdism is also quite popular. you know it's popularized by albert camus Albert Camus, again, if I hope I spell it right there. Albert Camus, and most popular with the his book or his analogy, is it, of the myth of Sisyphus. It's basically about a person who pushed the boulder climbing the mountain, only for the big boulder, the stone, to roll back again down the hill, you know. So it's like, what's the point, right? This is what this is what I want to talk about in this video. In life, you know, life is absurd. I would say this first of all. The most important point is what is life is absurd. Life is absurd. There are so many examples of absurdities in life. Absurdities in life, you know, so many things, you know. What is absurdism? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to give a definition, or a raw definition or rough definition of what is absurdism. Absurdism is basically, in simple words, I cannot make it in. I cannot speak in complicated terms. In simple words, in the simplest forms, is basically we as a human being, right? We have consciousness and everything. We are trying to find meaning. As a human being, we try to find meaning in a universe, in life, in an existence that probably doesn't have any meaning, that probably doesn't give any meaning, you know, that it's indifferent. The universe is indifferent, you know. There's a lot of writings about it, you know. The universe is indifferent. The universe doesn't care about us, you know, contrary to, you know, the popular spiritual theory. Maybe I will discuss also about this, you know. So, you know, what people normally nowadays even substitute religion with spirituality. For example, like the law of attraction. Have you heard about the law of attraction? Law of attraction is like, you know, they think like, positivity attracts positivity, negativity attracts negativity, right? And they think the universe is some sort of like sentient, quote unquote. The universe is alive, as if the universe responds to us. You know, what we think, what we feel, the universe will reward us. You know, that's the popular notion, right? That's the popular narrative that people nowadays keep, you know, trying to be, you know, keep saying about it, you know. But I will later on argue about that, you know, make an argument about that. But that's, first of all, hopefully you will understand about absurdism by now, you know. You can actually just look it up on Google if you want, or AI, you know. This nowadays is all about, you know, a lot of people also chat AI, you know. Anyway, back again to my previous point is yeah, life is absurd. Life is absurd because, as I've already explained, as I've per the definition that I've already given, right, is what we trying. We as a human being, we're trying, right, in our life. In life, we basically always try to find meaning. We always even try to give meaning, right? I will argue that's just basic human nature. You know, like everything we do, we try to find a meaning or purpose. It's the same thing, right? Meaning, purpose, you know, or maybe in the practical terms, you know, people usually just say, you know, target, goal. You know, what is the goal? What is the target today? You know, you often hear it in your work, right? If you hear about this, you know, if you some of you people who listen about this, that some of you maybe are working, or, you know, maybe most of you are working, you will know, you know, about this term, right? It's target, you know, goal, what to achieve, you know, the target, the goal, you know, and everything, you know. So it's basically the similar. I don't want to argue about semantics, some semantics here, okay? The language difference. It's just it doesn't matter, you know. tiny difference like that. But my point is, the point is, um, we need meaning as a human being, right? Animals probably don't have that in their, maybe in their, like, I don't know if they don't have the consciousness like humans do, right? The consciousness is, even if they have consciousness, is the type of consciousness is different, right? Humans consciousness, that's therefore it can be a burden. I think I've talked about this, or at least I've touched about this on my previous video. I've kind of forgot. I should talk about this maybe later on, maybe on the next video. Okay, it's more about pessimism actually. So that's maybe on the later another video. Okay, so again, we try to give meaning, right? But in reality, sometimes what's happening in life, there's just no particular meaning. There is no particular purpose. There is no point. Like we often ask, right? Like, oh, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point in this? We try to find like some, there must be some meaning. Everything happens for a reason, right? People often say that. Have you heard? People often say this everywhere. Everywhere. Everything happens for a reason. Don't worry about it. Things will get better. God works in mysterious way. Things like that. You've heard about this kind of, platitudes, so to speak, right? The normal things that people often say, or to be very honest, people often there is a meme about things that shit that normies often say, things like that, because I know this YouTube channel. I'm sure a lot of you who hear actually who've even found this channel. Maybe you don't. I will bet actually even that you probably think differently, right? You probably think differently than most quote unquote normies people out there, right? This is a fact. This is the the truth, the reality, right? So okay, sorry if I got too scatterbrain. Okay, let me try to make it to the point more and more. Okay, so sometimes, of course, naturally, we as human beings, as humans, will try to. There have to be a point. We live, we survive, we're born. We live every day. We go to school, we go to work. We have relationship or a connection. We have we form. We talk with other people, and everything we do, there should be a point, right? We often think like that. But again, in reality, realistically, truthfully, the truth is sometimes things just happen. Shits happen. Have you heard about that? People even also often say about this. That's why it's kind of like, don't you feel it's kind of contradictory? People often say the same people that say, oh, everything happened for a reason. The same people, the same person, they can actually also say, well, shit happened. Have you ever noticed about that? There is like a contradiction. People say this and then people say that, like that. See? So you can see, that like even this is already absurd, right? Like it's kind of stupid, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like again, shit happen, things happen for a reason. Without a reason, Well, maybe some things happen for a reason. I don't deny that. Sometimes, yes. And then I also know about the philosophy, actually the logic of cause and effect, right? Things happen because of their the causal what's how to say in philosophical term. Basically, when there is a cause and effect, it happened, right? But there are also things that happen randomly, right? So life is a combination of both. If you're talking about science, the quantum physics, it's actually also kind of random, right? It's not it's different, from the I don't know. I'm not really, again, I'm not really good at science, but if I even just use chat AI, it explained to me, so yeah. Anyway, uh, I'll try to make it wrap to make it faster. Okay, sorry, it's already 15 minutes. I see the time. Okay, so again, it's natural for us to want to, things happen for a reason, right? Things happen for a point, things happen for meaning. But in reality, the truth is, sometimes the fact is, as a matter of fact, sometimes things shit happen. Hey, shit happen. Things happen without a reason, without any rhyme, without any purpose, without any meaning, without any reason, like that, right? But of course, people, actually, I will argue, human beings, human nature will often try to find meaning. Oh, there must be some point. Oh, there must be some meaning. That's why, religion. Therefore, religion, right? Religion is what? Like, basically, like, if you're a Christian, right? Christianity. I'm a Christian myself, actually. So we often see, say things like, oh, we don't, we may not understand what's happening now. For example, when a closest person to us got they got sick, or they got sick, or they got illness, or they got problem or everything. Sometimes we often say, right, like, we often say like this, oh, you may not we may not understand, like, what's happening right now, but everything will work out. Hey, everything will work out, or God has a plan for you. Have you ever heard about it? Or another variation, if you believe, if you're a law of attraction kind of person, you talk about energy, you talk about vibes, about feeling, vibration, good vibes only, the popular quote, good vibes only, happy, positive, optimistic. You will say, oh, the universe will work. Don't worry, uh, the universe will provide, if you think positively, or everything. We try to give meaning, even, when in fact there is no meaning. Maybe there is no point. Suffering. I mean, look at the, you look at the human history, right? You look at the, I often think about this particular case. This is very, very dark, I hope you don't mind me saying this. This is very dark, but this is, hey, it's happening. It's a fact. It's a reality, harsh reality. It's happening. It's the case of. Have you heard about this Japanese story? It's not horror, but almost can be like a horror. The real life horror, actually, real world horror. The case of Junko Furuta. You can try to look it up. Junko Furuta, the tragic case of Junko Furuta, or famously known as 44 of Hell, if I'm not mistaken, the 44 days of hell. You look at things like this, and you wonder, like, what's the point? What's the purpose? Why things like this happen? Why bad things like this happen? Why bad things like this happen? No matter what you're trying to say, if you have just a little bit of empathy, just a little bit of empathy, even if you're a religious or spiritual person, I'll guarantee you will even feel sad. You will even feel sad. You will shock. You will feel shocked. You will even feel disgusted, probably, by what humans can do to another human beings, another innocent, yes, innocent teenager girl, human being who have a bright future prospect ahead of her, but she have to die and suffer in torture like this, in a hellish torture, in a hell, literally. Actually, you're talking about hell. This is hell. What she's experiencing is hell. And this is just to illustrate an example. There are a lot of other examples in this life that, some people in this world that experience maybe similar torturous, hellish, you know. uh Things like this, you know. So sorry, I got distracted by but it's okay. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Okay, I got distracted. I'm just afraid the video will get cut short. I'm sorry if that's the case. Okay, but hopefully I get my point across. Yeah, at least. So again, things sometimes just happen randomly. Shit happen. You know, things happen randomly. Um, there is no point, there is no meaning, no point, you know. Things just happen, shit happen, bad things happen to good people, you know. Bad things happen to good people, and or good things happen to bad people, you know. It's not always, you know, good people will get good things happen, or good people will get good life, or bad people will get bad life. No, you know, the universe doesn't work like that, life doesn't work like that, right? That's my point. Life doesn't work like that. You know, we want life to work like that, but no, life doesn't always work like that. You know, I've also talked about this in my previous video. You know, that's actually the whole point of this YouTube channel. Actually, you know, to to speak about the harsh reality that nobody wants to speak, or maybe just very few, very little, only very small few people who dare to speak the truth, who dare to speak the truth. Yeah, speak the truth. You know, the unpopular opinion. So again, I'm sorry if maybe the video will be cut short maybe suddenly, because you know there is a, like I said, you know, shit can happen, shit will happen, maybe, you know, we cannot predict, right? This is another thing in life. You know, life is unpredictable. We cannot predict like what's going to happen, right? With life, right? Nobody can read the future. Nobody actually knows, right? We are human beings, we're not gods, you know. We're not superheroes, we're not superhero with superpower, you know. We're just human being, we are limited actually, you know. So we don't know a lot of things. There are a lot of things that we don't know. That's why life is uncertain. There are a lot of uncertainty, unpredictability, you know. Life is uncertain, unpredictable, you know. No matter how we try, you know, there is always something that we don't know, you know. That's what makes life, you know. Well, life can turn bad, life can turn good, but you know, people only look at the good things, right? The good side, the bright side. But people often forget or don't want to speak about the, you know, things could change for the worse, things could turn bad, you know, without any reason. Again, we're talking about absurdism in this video, right? Things can happen absurdly, you know, a life absurdity, you know. So I will maybe move to my next point, because this is already getting too long. Okay, so this is related. I've talked about this a little bit, but now I want to talk much more deeper. Again, still related with what I've said before, right? Can you hear the dog barking? That's my dog barking. Don't mind it, okay? Okay. I will continue. I've talked before, right, about, remember, if you still remember, you know, the positive things, right? Positive thing, people try to think positively, right? But again, like as the example that I've illustrated. Sorry if my example is maybe not really perfect enough, you know, because again, I record this video without any preparation. I just speak randomly, spontaneously what's really on my mind. You know, I just say it. I just make a video, you know, about this. So previously, before I talk about you know, people will try to think positively, right? Or and then they think, you know, if they think positively, you know, life will be positive. Okay, in certain case, fair enough, it's true, you know. Good good positive thoughts or thinking maybe will produce logically, rationally will produce like good positive actions, right? And then the actions will produce good positive results, right? Like that, right? But again, in reality, things don't always work like that, right? Sometimes accidents happen. For example, accidents happen, things that is outside of our control, right? Or the market crash, the stock market crash, things like that, right? We cannot predict what happened in the future, what's going to happen in the future, right? Or maybe there is a sudden terminal illness, chronic pain, chronic illness, things like this. You cannot even predict like what's going to happen, you know. No matter even if you say, oh no, I control my own future. Yeah, okay, in just only in some aspect. That's what people don't get, If there is nothing bad happening in your life, of course you will say things like this, but you never know, I'm not saying that, hey, your life will turn bad tomorrow, or not like that, I don't wish it, I don't even wish stuff like that, but things happen, shit happen again, like I've said, right? That's what makes life absurd, things happen randomly, randomness, random, meaningless, even though we try to find meaning in what's already happening, the bad, especially if bad things happen, but sometimes there is just no point, there's no meaning, we try to make up some meaning, we try to, people try to delude themselves with some kind of like meaning, quote unquote, like some purpose, some even rationalize. You will be surprised, if I say that even the smart people, the so-called smart people, people who I thought was smart, even people who are smart, they are not, they are even afraid to face the truth. That's how scary life is. They keep trying, their mind is automatically keep trying to create all sort of positivity, toxic positivity, optimism bias. Again, it's deep down here. It's embedded in human nature, survival instinct, right? No matter what, we as human being, just like animal, just like nature, we're all just trying to survive. It's survival instinct, right? Nothing special about it, right? It's evolutionary speaking, right? Okay. So it's predictable, actually. People will react like that, people will respond normally. Again, normally people will say, oh, no, things happen for a reason, things happen, but we just don't know. We still don't know, but I'm sure everything will work out. Everything will happen for a reason. Well, we know, people who listen to my YouTube channel, people who, agree actually with what this YouTube channel is all about. I'm sure you will agree with me, Not to sound, I'm not trying to sound pessimistic. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic, but sometimes that's just the reality, right? Where is the line? Sometimes there is a thin line between reality and pessimism, because reality is sometimes pessimistic. Reality is depressing. The truth is, hey, the truth is not comfortable, contrary to popular opinion, right? That's why they call it the harsh truth, the harsh reality, right? It's not about, the beautiful truth, the beautiful reality. Nobody talks like that. Even normal people, all those normies, nobody talk like, it's a beautiful reality. No, reality is often have a connotation of negative connotation, right? That's just logic, simple, common sense. Anyway, I have to move to my final last point, because I look at it's already 30 minutes, almost half an hour. I try to limit all my videos to half an hour, 30 minutes at the maximum. Okay, so my final point. Now this is getting more and more personal. I'm talking about this, about, for example, about my life. I just feel like my life is actually also absurd, right? I try to keep my identity secret here. But I don't even sometimes I don't even understand like why my life can turn like this, right? Okay, I know that mostly it's my fault. It's all my fault, but I also know that sometimes it's just luck, you know. Like there are a lot of things that we can also argue semantically about what's luck, or maybe a lot of people actually, many people will probably say, oh, there, I make my own luck. I make my own luck, all those empty platitudes like that, if again and again and again, if you're in this YouTube channel, this is not what this YouTube channel is all about, right? I'm talking about the harsh reality, harsh truth, the harsh fact, not some beautiful rainbow and sunshine, the delusional naive ignorance, uh, things that people often say, right? All the quote unquote normist things that people often say, right? So yeah, again, back to about my life, right? I don't know. I don't know why, like, like why my life can turn like this, in some aspect, in certain aspects, I don't know. mm, I can only say that my life is absurd too. When we're talking, oh, this is another maybe important point, the final point too. My last point. When we're talking about tragedies, when we're talking about tragic things happening, right? Tragic things. Why this happened? Why it happened? Why? Maybe it also to your life, right? Maybe you also wonder why this happened to, why things like this happen to, why things like this happen, why we keep asking why, right? The fact that we're asking why is actually already a logical enough reason, to say that life is absurd. you know Life doesn't give us any meaning, even though we're trying to, we always try to give meaning, we always try to find meaning, but that's why we keep asking why. But sometimes there is no answer to our why. There is no answer to the why question. you know there is no answer to why things happen, why shit happen, why bad things happen. you know Things just happen randomly. you know a kid can just die, a newborn baby can just die, once he or she is born, can just die, just like that, die, pass away. A baby, a small little baby, not even 1 year old baby, can just suddenly pass away or die. you know like what's the point, like, right? What's the point? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about absurd. Life is absurd. Life is absurd. No matter how many positive thinking, positivity, optimism, hopeful, all those positive things, that people try to give, or people try to make it so, you know, that still doesn't change the fact that, sometimes things just happen without things just happen without any point, without any purpose, without any meaning. you know like I said again, in the description, in the beginning, right? the universe the universe is indifferent. The universe is indifferent. The universe doesn't owe us any meaning. you know the universe doesn't owe us any meaning. There is no cosmic meaning, perhaps, or maybe we could argue unknown. No, we still don't know, things like that. But that still doesn't mean that, hey, people can we can say that for sure, 100% for sure, oh, there is a meaning, objective meaning. I'm talking about the cosmic perspective, from in the universe, in the grand scheme of things. Is there a point to all of this? Is there a point to life? Is there actually any point to all of this, to all this, to this life, to what's happening, to to everything, basically. right? Evolutionary speaking, you know, things just happen, right? Universe is born, if you believe in the Big Bang theory, universe is just born, and then planet earth, our planet, and then human beings, everything, consciousness emerge, and everything, things like this, you know but is there any meaning, is there any point to all of this? We don't know, right? At best, we can only say that we don't know, right? Maybe there is no point, maybe there is no meaning, and then everything will, soon or later, everything will just die. Everything will, nothing lasts forever, right? Nothing lasts forever. Everything will die, things will get entropy, heat death of the universe, right? The heat death of the universe, things will be gone, things will not last forever. Everything will that, everything, we're born, we die, things like this, right? So what's the point, really? Absurdism, maybe this is my final point. I agree with the absurd concept of what Albert Camus say, but however, I don't agree with his conclusion, because his conclusion is too positive, too still. I will even argue it's toxic positivity. Like, we must imagine Sisyphus happy, quote unquote, right? He said that. Albert Camus said that in his absurdism philosophy. Well, not everybody can do that, right? In reality, you know, or maybe, have a cup of coffee. Hey, just have a cup of coffee. Not everybody can have a cup of coffee. How about people who suffer in pain, in suffering, in illness, in painful torture, in painful terminal illness, chronic pain? They don't have time to, drink coffee. They probably scream in agony, in pain. People who are in the war torn countries, in the war zone, people who are born in poverty, in a poor, have to struggle every day. you know they don't have time to drink a cup of coffee, like, like people often say, right? So I don't agree with absurdism philosophy in terms of the conclusion, but I agree with the absurd concept. At least I can borrow that I can only borrow that absurd word, that absurd term, because it's really good. It's a really, I even admit that it's a really good concept, the word absurd. I really love that, actually. I really love, because that explains a lot, actually. I've been thinking a lot lately, for this past couple months, and I try to chat with AI about this. I'm using a lot of different chat AI, in chat with ChatGPT, with DeepSeek, with Grok, from X, Twitter, also even from the Google search, like AI overview, Meta AI, and everything, things like that. So I dive deeper into the there is a motor sound. Okay. I try to dive deeper into this absurdism concept, right? And I like that term, absurdism, because absurd. But again, I don't agree with the conclusion, because it doesn't always have to be that positivity, and not everybody can be, rebellion. Oh yeah, I forgot. Camus said to rebel, to revolt, right? Revolt is actually a defiance against the, that's in this absurd universe, in this absurd life, absurd existence. But not everybody want to rebel, not everybody want to revolt. Sometimes, the fact is, some people just give up completely, right? That's why, there is a suicide, right? This is probably my really, really, really final point. Last point. Sorry about this. Let me drink first. That's the darkest reality, suicide, right? Nobody want to talk about it, but it's there. It maybe even happen to people close to us, or somebody that you know, right? You read the news, you read social media, online internet, you often you probably find things like suicide, right? So that's actually already a proof, right? The suicide cases, all around the world is already a proof enough that hey, not everybody can revolt, not everybody can rebel, not everybody can be like that positive, can be that optimistic to stay in a meaningless existence, in a meaningless universe, in a meaningless in the pointless suffering, in a pointless hardship. What's the point of waking up every day, every morning, just to wake up and then sleep? You struggle, you wake up, life sucks, and then you die. Have you heard or read about it? Life sucks, then you die, right? Life sucks. Hey, life sucks, then you die, like that, right? Life sucks, and then you die, just like that. There is no point. There is no point. Sometimes there is just no point. That's what I'm talking about. I want to talk in this video. Life is absurd, but I don't agree with I don't even agree with Albert Camus absurdism philosophy final conclusion that hey, we have to rebel, we have to revolt, because that's in a meaningless universe. Okay, sure, a lot of people actually, I will argue, can do that, but not some of us. Some people cannot do that. It doesn't have to take a genius. It doesn't have to be a really smart people, or feel you have to be able to understand philosophy. No, you see ordinary people, they kill themselves, they commit suicide, or that's actually already a brutal reality, brutal fact, brutal truth, that hey, life doesn't rhyme. Life doesn't have any rhyme. Sometimes things don't rhyme, things don't have any reason. People just die, people just and then we keep asking why, without any answer, with no answer, right? That's life. That's the reality, right? Life is absurd. Life is full of absurdity. We as human beings, we try to find meaning in a meaningless universe, in an indifferent universe, existence, life, world, whatever it is you want to call it, right? I guess, okay, I think I will stop here. I'm very sorry, if this video took too long, actually, than I thought. It's already 43 minutes. I try to plan to talk about in 30 minutes, but turns out it's 40 minutes. But it's okay. I got carried away. Carried away. Okay. I will stop here. I hope you'll understand more about absurdism, and also my personal basically my personal perspective about it, about this philosophy. It's important. It's an important subject topic to discuss about. Again, life biggest questions, right? So yeah. Okay, I will stop here. Thank you for those of you who maybe found somehow. I don't know how, if there is even a person who can found this video, this YouTube channel, and listen until the end. Especially, I really thank you. I really deeply thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot to me. So yeah. Okay, I will stop here for now. Take care, everybody, everyone.